I'm joined by Wolverhampton Wanderers legend and former goalkeeper Carl Ikeme. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with you, Carl.
No problem, mate. Thanks for having me.
Carl, you made 191 appearances for Wolves and you have 10 caps for your national team of Nigeria. So firstly, I just want to congratulate you on having such a wonderful career.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
So to start, I'm going to ask you with some questions about your experiences with racism in football, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, of course, mate.
So in 2014, you suffered racist abuse during a 3-0 win against Walsall. I was wondering if you could explain in some depth what actually happened on the day.
Well, I'd had a bit of history at Warsaw because I played a friendly and received a similar incident. I can't remember what someone called me that day, but it was a friendly, so everyone could hear what was said, and I reacted that day and didn't really take it any further. I was quite angry at the time because I was angry that he said it, but I wasn't angry with him. I was angry. There was two Asian guys close to them, and I was angry at them because they were laughing.
Okay.
And what made me even more angry was to think that you understand what that incident's about.
Yeah.
If I heard that sort of incident in the crowd, I wouldn't be laughing. I'd be disgusted. I'd be angry.
Do you think you'd call them out on it, or?
Yeah, I'd hope. I've challenged everyone on whatever I'd said. Generally, to be honest, so I just don't like. I know a lot of people are comfortable saying certain words, and I've kind of grew up around people calling people, like grew up around people not minding calling different nationalities like a Paki or a chink or something like that, and I just don't like it. And that was a friendly, and then it happened again in the incident you're talking about. I think someone mentioned something about my dad being an African, something along them lines, an African bastard possibly, I think he said. And this time I kept my cool during the game, and then after the game I give the crowd a little bit back and then reported them. And it wasn't, I didn't report them because it hurt me necessarily, or I'm fortunate and I'm quite comfortable with myself where I'm a big boy. I've been called a lot of things just generally in the football anyway, so I've got thick skin. So it's not about me, it's about someone else who can't take it as well as I do, or someone else who is in the crowd who feels like they've got no voice to call it out, or they feel like that they're marginalised, or that they haven't got the confidence to call it out, or they haven't got the confidence to not feel have some sort of lower self-esteem or something like that, something that would bring them down. So I reported the incident, and I'd go to say that I don't think Walsall's a racist football club at all. I've always loved Walsall for what they were doing at the time. They were playing attractive football at their level. And again, nobody heard anything. No stewards heard anything. There's plenty of stewards. No fans heard anything again. And what the disappointing thing is for me is that after the investigation took place, then I think someone asked me if I want to speak to kick it out.
Yeah.
There's no point. It's finished now.
Yeah.
It's finished, and I think the whole incident bothers me because it bothers me from the start that someone can get away with saying it and not get challenged. And it bothers me that nobody at the time, I believe, and it's not just Walsall, it was every football club, felt that if they called it out, then they'll be labelled a racist football club where you're not. Every football team in the club, let alone probably the world, have some racist fans. That's just society. It's life.
Yeah.
But you're not a racist football club if you stand up to challenge it. You're actually doing the right thing by challenging it. And then to go on to the next stage of the FA not finding anything, which again, the whole thing doesn't really bother me. It's a system, and then kick it out can speak to me after the incident's finished.
Yeah.
What if I really needed support then? Like, what if I really was struggling with what was said and everything else that was going on? What if I needed the support, and if it lasted weeks or months, and then only kick it out and only come speak to me when the incident's been resolved or they've made a decision on that matter? It's just not good enough.
Yeah, for sure. So you say you reported it, but nothing came of it because, you know, they couldn't identify the fans. But do you, because Raheem Sterling in the past has come out and said that he doesn't think enough is being done to tackle racism in English football. He said that clubs whose fans racially abuse players should receive a 9-point deduction as opposed to fining the individual fans. Do you believe enough is being done to tackle racism in the beautiful game? Or
no, I don't believe. I'd go against. I'd say against hard to police though. It's very hard to police. A 9-point deduction. I don't know if that would work or not.
what ideas would you recommend, like punishments be taken?
It's a good question. Something I've battled with before, because sometimes I think the 9-point deduction, would that be fair? I don't know. You've got an Arsenal shirt on there, and you know, Arsenal's probably one of the most multicultural fans that in the country. If there was a racist incident at Arsenal, would it warrant a 9-point deduction when you've got such a multicultural fan base generally? I don't know if that works, but I've thought of things like if there was a racist incident, pointed out to ban the section of fans, the ban section in that section. So it's horrible, but it's a punishment for that little section where the incident happened. If it was widespread across the stadium, then I'd call for a ban on
behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors, and substantial fine as well for not dealing with it. Points. I'm not too sure how they would do the points. Whether it's a 1-point deduction or something. If it was I think if it was widespread and you heard monkey chants all around the stadium, then I agree that there could be some points of deductions then, because we've seen behind closed door games happen, and especially in Europe, and it just doesn't really seem to do anything. It happens again a year down the line, year and a half down the line, and again it's a pay fine. And so it's difficult because some of the fines just don't really matter to the clubs or the teams. Like if you find anyone Man City £100, it's not going to touch them. Do you know what I mean? So it's, I suppose there's some sanctions, but for me in England, where you have small sections, or I wouldn't say in sections necessarily. It's in a lot of individuals at times. Where could you? I think you've seen the Chelsea incident. I think that was last season.
Really good song.
Yeah. Could you ban that tier of fans in that sort of section, and possibly fines? I'm not the reason I'm not. I don't mind them being fined, but the fines that really do nothing, because they're always not substantial enough to really hurt anyone. I'd definitely call for banning of sections of fans, and I'd be open to other ideas of if it's happened 2-3 times, then a point deduction or something along them lines. I don't mind a fine, but I just don't think the fines are going to be serious enough to really cause any Premier League team any harm.
Yeah, I think it is something that the FA need to look at and really push on with. But as an upcoming young black footballer, growing up in the UK in academies and whatnot, did you face any challenges due to your skin colour?
There's been a couple of incidents playing. I think there was another one at Stockport, possibly. Similar to the Walsall incident. Trying to think of any other incidents when I was playing. Probably it was, but I probably just didn't report them because there was no point. And personally, on the pitch, I don't know. I always think that the black lads got treated different coming through the academy. I always felt that that if you were white and had a troubled past, you would be more understood. Where I think if you were black, it would be more, he's got an attitude problem, or he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Do you think the media plays a big part in that? Because like we saw, it happened with, I think, Phil Foden and Tosin Adarabioyo. They both bought Mama House, but they were painted in just completely different light. Do you think like the media have a big part in that?
Yeah, I think so. I think the media have a part in it, in football and general life. You see, you see incidents all over the news. Just generally, if you see criminal activities, there's normally black, brown, Muslim, or if there's a grooming gang, there's always a Muslim grooming gang. There's not just a grooming gang. And if there's the incident you mentioned with the two Man City boys, one's painted as, oh, look at this, what a good lad, he's behind his mama house, and everyone's seen as a young black kid who's reckless. Raheem Sterling's been painted in that same picture, like young, black and reckless. And it's the stereotypes that feed society then, because then they look at other young black boys and think they're just reckless. And then they think other Muslim boys that they're grooming gang or terrorists, where they're not.
Yes. I think we're just coming up to the 10-15 minute mark, so I'm just going to leave you with the last question. Since you started playing football, do you believe that racism has gotten worse in football?
I don't know if it's got worse, but I don't think it's got better either.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's starting to be movements made in more in higher positions of football now, where they're really looking at their board members and managers. I've been on meetings with. I went on a meeting probably about 6 years ago to do with why is there so few black managers and coaches in the game, and is that improving now? Not massively, but I think it's a back thought in people's mind now. When the FA are appointing their board, I think they're more inclined to look at diversity more. And I think what this year has shown even more is that there's not enough diversity in a lot of institutions in England, but there's not enough diversity in English football, and it's a terrible thing because there's so many black English footballers as well. And to have a huge portion of English black footballers not represented anywhere in the boards, along management, technical directors. I think Les Ferdinand might be the only black technical director or chairman in English football is a travesty, because how many black players are playing in the Premier League? How many black players are in the England team at the minute? With the fans, maybe there'll be a shift now. I think there are lots happening in this country, and I suppose with um, the Brexit manifesto and everything that's happened with that, I'm not saying that's caused racism in football, but I think there's been an air of immigration problem, and I don't know if that's filtered down to football, that there's that many cameras and um, you can get caught a lot easier for saying racist things now. I don't know if more people are getting caught or more people are saying it, because I believe it's been there all along. I've heard it. So is it getting better? I can't honestly say yes. Is it getting worse? I won't say it's getting worse. I think it's just about. I think it's just about challenging people, and I think you're seeing on them even a lot of the Sky Sports News, BBC, Match of the Day. They're aware of it now that there's not enough representation. So I think there's a shift going on. But I suppose that whatever representation you see on TV, you need the shift in society. But hopefully, these shifts at the top will start seeing shifts at the bottom, because I've grew up around. I'm from Birmingham, so I grew up around a lot of different cultures, and I'm fortunate to have done that. So, do I believe that England's a generally racist country? No, but do we have a problem? Yes. I think it's not spoken as much. It's more the incidents that I've told you about, not being seen as a doctor or medic or technical director, chairman, manager. I think they're the issues that need to be addressed now, and then hopefully that these acts of discrimination will become less and less.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's all we've got time for. I just want to say thank you so much, Carl. You've been
no problem, mate. No problem.
To me about this, I really appreciate it.
I hope everything goes well, mate.
Cheers. Thank you.
Take it easy.